Rugby World Cup 2023, folks. Pool C, Fiji up against Portugal this weekend. Fiji just need 1 point. 1 point out of this game to secure themselves a quarterfinals berth. If they don't get it, it'll be Australia going through. But Fiji are going to be favourites for this one. We'll go through those predictions. We'll go through some recent history, some stats, and the squads, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how this one is going to go. They've only played twice by the records I looked up, back in 2013 and 2005, and Fiji managed to win both of those games. So they have never lost to Portugal before, but 36-13 and 26-17. Not exactly the most lopsided affairs you will have ever seen, but this is a really strong Fijian side. But likewise, I don't get to see Portugal that often, but of all the kind of less fancied teams at this World Cup, they've put their hands up maybe more than anyone else. They haven't really been given any, they haven't played a number one side in the world kind of thing, but they haven't been beaten by like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 points. So they've looked really good. They were supposed to play back in 2020, but that match ended up getting canned. So this will be the third meeting between the sides. As I said, Fiji, everything to play for. Get 4 tries, get a losing bonus point, or just win the game, and they'll be through. So, I think Simon Louis said in the build-up, like, they want to win because they want to go through with some momentum. So this is not one where they're looking to just kind of scrape through. They'll be looking to put a statement out over this Portuguese side, which is not going to roll over. Mawi, Matavesi, and Tagi, that is the same front row as the one that played last week. They will be looking to get on top up front because the Fijian forwards have maybe been just as impressive as the backs. Have they been more impressive than the backs? I'll say yes. Their work at the breakdown highlighted probably the best parts of this Fijian campaign, but the backs have scored some pretty nice tries as well. The second row is Nasilasila and Mayanavanua. So that is a change with Mayanavanua coming up from the bench for this one. Tevita is the guy who swaps places with him for this one. I guess it's a little bit of rotation. Derenalagi, the Drua star from Super Rugby, he is in at number 6 this week alongside Botia and Mata. So it's a pretty good looking Fijian back row. When you're looking at the Fijians, you're looking at the guys like Botia, who is top tackler alongside the likes of Nasilasila and Tevita. That's what I'm talking about, how their forwards are the ones really starring in the show. And who is their top offloader? Is it one of the backs? Is it Nayacalevu? Nah, it's Botia. Botia is just incredible, but we'll see if the Portuguese are able to limit his involvements. Lomani and Botitu is actually a new 9-10 combo. So there's no Tititella for this one in the starting 15. He drops to the bench. Tuisova and Nayacalevu is 12 and 13. I only heard after the game last week that Tuisova's family had a real tragedy. So I'm surprised he's still there. But I guess, everyone has the decision to make. Do you stay with the team or do you go back with your family? He chose to stay with the team, so we respect his decisions and big commiserations to him and the whole team. I'm sure that was a real shock and a devastating one for them. So hopefully, he's able to play well in honor of his family, I guess. And wings, Ravutaumada and Habosi, really exciting outside backs. Ravutaumada is the top guy for clean breaks for that Fijian side. Now the level inside him he's been one of the best players of the tournament. He continues to captain, and Maqala is there at 15. Ikanivere, Ravai, and Dongia are the front row replacements. Tevita I mentioned is there alongside Tuisova, and it's 3 back replacements, and Matawalu who comes into 23, Tela who drops to the bench, and Masi who also comes into the 23. So it's not a heck of a lot of changes, but they have rotated the squad somewhat. For Portugal, they have also made a minimal amount of changes, but still a bit of rotation going on, especially on the bench. But Fernandes gets a start, number 1. Tachia still 2. And Ferreira, number 3. So just the one change, a loose head prop. Madeira and Sequeira are the locking duo. Madeira, I seem to remember, is getting through a lot of work from the stats, like in terms of his tackles, but none so more than Nicolas Martins, who is there at number 7. He's their top tackling forward with 47 tackles. The next Portuguese player has like 34. So he's been immense. Almost scored a try in their last game, I remember, but wasn't it chalked off? Wallace is still there at 6, and Simoes is there at number 8, so he's up from the bench. Marquez, the goal-kicking 9, is there, alongside Portela, who has run the show really well at 10. Looks very, very capable. Got man of the match in that game against Georgia. Lima comes in at 12 in place of Appleton, and he captains the side. Appleton is there on the bench, but he's like the top tackling back, so it's a big call. Betancourt is there. Scored a try last week. Storti, goodness gracious me, at 14. Like, speaking of exciting wingers, he's had 5 clean breaks in this competition, which is insane. He's been very, very dangerous. And then Mata's there alongside Pinto as the other kind of 2 backs. So there's no Sushigedes for this one. And that's disappointing because he's been really exciting. But I haven't read if he's injured or if it's just selection-wise. With the last game for Portugal, it wouldn't surprise me if some of the changes like Alves, Torgal, Granate, and Pinto, it's Vincent Pinto coming in on the bench, is to give them a game before the World Cup is done. Team stats for these teams when you compare them. Like Fiji, when you think Fiji, you think exciting 7 style. Like, they haven't had more clean breaks than their opponent in any of their games, which might seem surprising. Like Wales, it was 6-6. 6 for Wales, 6 for Fiji. Australia, it was 2-3. So Fiji had 2, Australia had 3, and Georgia, it was 6-7. So all the teams Fiji have played have either equaled or exceeded their amount of clean breaks. But boy, they're good at the breakdown. They'll smash you at the breakdown. Overall for this competition, Fiji's only managed 14 clean breaks. Portugal's 23. So Portugal's kind of out Fijiing Fiji at this tournament. But as I mentioned, Fiji are excelling in areas which are not just the kind of crazy 7 stuff. Fiji scored 7 tries to 5, so it's not that different. Portugal's got 5, which is, as I said, pretty similar. Fiji's goal kicking has not been great, but their breakdown, as I mentioned, is awesome. The line-out's still a bit shaky. They'll be looking to get a good performance in on their own throw. It is on at Toulouse. Luke Pearce is the ref. It's a 9 o'clock kickoff, so it's the late game. 8 o'clock in the morning for those of us here in NZ, so this will be the game I'm watching live. Bookies have got Fiji by 19 points. The rugby forecast algorithm says Fiji by 24. So Fiji just need a point, but they are predicted to get it done with more than just the 1 point. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. On paper, the way these teams play should be a really exciting one. Is it going to be Portuguese flair up against Fijian breakdown dominance? Who would have thought you'd be saying that? But yeah, there you go. You guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.